A lot of relocating projects in sports become disasters. In fact, the NFL has pissed off a lot of fans after relocating 3 teams between 2016 and 17. The Rams moved from St. Louis to Los Angeles. They'll be joined by the Chargers after spending a half-century in San Diego. And the Raiders are going from Oakland to Vegas. Yay! So some of these relocations look awful on paper, but don't lose hope. Some relocations really did work out just fine. I'm Justin Fraction, and today we dive into 10 relocations that were for the better. And a big shout out to the Jukes of Hazzard for suggesting this list. We do hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, feel free to click subscribe down below for more cool videos every single day. Number 10, the Seattle Pilots to Milwaukee. The Seattle Pilots were only around for the 1969 season. They had a woeful 64-98 record. Their stadium was totally out of date, and drawing fans was a major problem. MLB pulled the plug on the Pilots in the Emerald City. They relocated to Milwaukee and were renamed the Brewers. Now, Milwaukee hasn't experienced that much success since relocating, but they've been proven to be just fine for a baseball market, and all sides ended up happy as the city of Seattle were given the Mariners in 1977. No harm, no foul. Number 9, Quebec Nordiques to Colorado. Having the Nordiques in Quebec worked well in the NHL for a decade and a half, and their rivalry with provincial rivals the Montreal Canadiens was insanely epic. But the Nordiques suffered major financial issues, and the falling Canadian dollar only made matters worse. Quebec also played in a relatively small market and never had the chance to stick around long term. They relocated to Colorado for the 1995-96 season and became the Avalanche. Colorado won the Stanley Cup in its first year and became the Western Conference juggernaut, forming a rivalry for the ages with the Detroit Red Wings. Their decade-long run of dominance made the move to Colorado well worth it. Number 8, Colts to Indianapolis. The Irsay family became quite unpopular in Baltimore. The Colts were doing just fine there, and the relocation was totally unexpected. But hey, the Colts struggled in Indy until Peyton Manning turned them into the class of the AFC. Furthermore, Baltimore would end up getting another NFL team later on. The Colts' move to Indianapolis is relished for over 30 years. Once again, there ended up being no losers in this relocation. Number 7, Seattle Supersonics to Oklahoma City. The Supersonics were a juggernaut in the 70s and 90s, but even the great Ray Allen couldn't restore relevance to this franchise in the 21st century. When the state of Washington refused to fund $200 million for the Supersonics to upgrade their arena, the franchise was sold and moved to Oklahoma City, where they became the Thunder. Shortly after relocating, the Thunder became a top team in the West, led by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. They provided great excitement for the NBA and more parity in their conference. And don't worry, Seattle. Indications are you'll get a basketball team back eventually, so just hang in there. Number 6, Grizzlies to Memphis. The Grizzlies spent 6 seasons in Vancouver, but they were always awful and the attendance was extremely low. The franchise struggled with finances, and Vancouver was obviously not the appropriate market for an NBA team. The team relocated to Memphis for the 2001-2 season, and they've turned out just fine there. Great attendance, no financial woes, and the Grizzlies have been a playoff team most years since the move. Moving the team to a market where they would be appreciated only made sense, and it's worked to perfection. Number 5, Atlanta Thrashers to Winnipeg. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman tried expanding hockey in the southern United States in the 90s. The Tampa Bay Lightning have panned out, but the Atlanta Thrashers? What a waste. This team had, by our unofficial calculations, 5 fans per game. A stubborn Bettman allowed this franchise to be sold to a group who relocated the team to Winnipeg, where they were named the Jets. There was previously an NHL franchise named the Winnipeg Jets that had to be moved to Phoenix in 1996. Nearly a decade later, and the Jets are selling out every home game, and the MTS Center is one of the loudest arenas in the NHL. You see, Bettman, sometimes moving a franchise from the South to a place in Canada where they actually love hockey can work out. Number 4, Montreal Expos to Washington. The usual horrible attendance and financial troubles. After some promising years in the 90s, the Montreal Expos flopped and just couldn't find ways to win games in the 2000s. It was time for a change. The franchise relocated to Washington, D.C. for the 2005 season. Then comes this Bryce Harper kid, and suddenly the Nats are one of baseball's most exciting teams year in and year out. Obviously, seeing a team flourish in the nation's capital made this relocation a relevant and genius one. Number 3, Cleveland Browns to Baltimore. Browns owner Art Modell opted to relocate the franchise to Baltimore in 1996. The team drafted Ray Lewis with its first-round pick in 1996 and went on to become a juggernaut in the AFC. They won Super Bowls 35 and 47 as Lewis turned the Ravens into an absolute powerhouse. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns were restored for the 1999 season. And given how awful they always are, maybe Cleveland was happy to go without a football team from 1996 to 1998. Number 2, Clippers to Los Angeles. After 8 years in Buffalo, the Braves moved to San Diego and became the Clippers. But San Diego was no market for basketball, as the team was only averaging 4,500 fans per game. The franchise was then sold to he who shall not be named, and the Clippers relocated to Los Angeles for the 1984-85 season. After years of frustration, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin turned the other Los Angeles basketball team into a respectable franchise, leading them to 50-win seasons in 2013, 14, 15, and 16. Moving them to a bigger and better market in Los Angeles worked out just fine. Good on you, NBA. And number 1, Dodgers to Los Angeles. The Dodgers played in Brooklyn from 1932 to 1957, and though seeing them play the New York Yankees in the World Series 7 times was fun, who cared about a Battle of New York? Only New Yorkers, really. The Dodgers relocated to Los Angeles in 1958, and they've been a huge success. Playing in the West Coast market, the Dodgers are one of the richest franchises, whom Forbes lists as being worth $1.6 billion. Would their rivalry with fellow California club, the San Francisco Giants, even be cool if the Dodgers stayed in Brooklyn? No. And having the Mets and Yankees is more than enough in the Big Apple. Which sports relocation do you think turned out best? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton and we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to Total Pro Sports though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.